Can we build a Circle of Stars Druid from D&D in Elden Ring? Absolutely. But is it any good? Check this out. Hello everyone, I am Slightly.Lost, and welcome back to a series where I attempt to recreate D&D subclasses using Elden Ring's mechanics as respectfully as possible. So if you've never played D&D before, Druids are known for being the one with nature hermit class. They just happen to also be able to transform into animals with their wild shape, so you never really know what that bird might be up to. The Circle of Stars Druid in particular changes that just a bit. Instead of transforming with their wild shape, they can also take on a starry form. Their body glows with bright white lights of stars like a night sky, and can choose between 3 different constellations for different effects. Since we don't get the luxury of being able to change our form like that in Elden Ring, we'll be casting star-themed spells with some added healing spells. Without further ado, let's get into the build. To start off, we'll be selecting the Confessor starting class. We'll be wanting a much higher intelligence stat than Faith, but this class has the best balance of the two. At level 50, you'll want 22 Vigor, 15 Mind, 22 Endurance, 19 Dexterity, 15 Intelligence, and 15 Faith. This gives us some decent HP and stamina while still meeting the requirements for our preferred melee weapon and a few spells. At level 100, you'll need 34 Vigor, 30 Endurance, 30 Intelligence, and 30 Faith. We've now hit the desired level for our Faith and won't be putting any more levels there. At level 150, you'll have 46 Vigor, 21 Mind, 36 Endurance, 25 Dexterity, and 50 Intelligence. We're really starting to see the build come together by this point. Finally, at level 200, your stats will be 60 Vigor, 30 Mind, 40 Endurance, 38 Dexterity, and 60 Intelligence. In terms of equipment, we want the Staff of the Great Beyond from the DLC so that we can use a single catalyst to cast our sorceries and incantations. If you don't have the DLC, then I'd recommend Lusat's Glintstone Staff and the Frenzied Flame Seal, purely because it scales with Dexterity, Intelligence, and Faith, and with our stat spread has the highest incant scaling for our level. Our melee weapon, should we need to use it, is the Shotell with the Cold Affinity and the Double Slash Ash of War. Lastly, we'll use the Wolf Crest Shield for blocking whenever we need to. Our list of spells feels right at home for a Stars Druid. In terms of incantations, we'll be using Heal and Blessing's Boon. We can think of these as Cure Wounds and Healing Spirit from D&D. Our sorceries will be Glintstone Comet Shard, Star Shower, Stars of Ruin, and Founding Rain of Stars. For our talismans, we're not too worried about increasing the power of our spells, but our ability to cast more of them before needing to drink a flask. So, we'll have the Erdtree's Favor +2 for increased stamina, HP, and equip load, so we can take one more hit and cast another spell or two before running out of stamina. Secondly, we have the Cerulean Amber Medallion +2, or +3 if you have the DLC. The Ancestral Spirit Horn is in our 3rd slot, and while it doesn't give a whole lot of FP back on enemy kills, it's certainly better than nothing and can add up in larger mobs. Lastly, we have the Prosthesis Wearer Heirloom to increase our Dexterity to 43 and over the 40 Dex limit to shorten our spell casting times as much as possible. Plus, our melee weapon will always appreciate a few more levels into Dex. As always, armor of choice is pick your favorite, as long as you hit that 51 poise threshold. I've chosen Malekith's Helm, the Raging Wolf Armor, Radahn's Gauntlets, and the Knight's Cavalry Greaves. This gives us exactly 51 poise. In our Wondrous Physic, since most of our damage comes from sorceries, we have the Magic Shroud and Cracked tier to push that even further. We're also using the Crimson Burst Crystal tier to replicate the massive amounts of healing that Chalice Starry Form can give. Last, but certainly not least, our Great Rune of choice for this build will be Radahn's Great Rune. The 15% increase to HP, FP, and stamina is key for a build so focused on casting spells. With all that number crunching out of the way, let's see how it plays. And that is how you make a Stars Druid from D&D in Elden Ring. Did you like what you saw? What would you change to make this build even more accurate to the source material? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye, adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, and if I don't see you tomorrow, have a wonderful day.